Hey friends, welcome to Biblical Studies Today Book Chats. It's January 22nd, 2025. We are just about 6 months out from the publication of Campbell's Basics of Verbal Aspect in Biblical Greek. This is the second edition. And we are looking at this volume now because we're at that time of year when many students taking elementary or intermediate Greek courses are now at the point of verbs in their study. And Campbell's book provides us an opportunity to think about aspect. Campbell does a great job here of analyzing the various features of Greek verbs. And when we think about aspect, we're thinking about viewpoint of the action. Campbell argues, as we think about the ABCs of the book and its argument, that there are two aspects. There is an imperfective or internal progressive aspect and a perfective or external aspect, those two. And along with the feature of aspect, we think about tense or the time of a verb, and then the feature of actionsart, the type of action. Is it punctiliar? Is it a progressive? Is it ingressive, the beginning of an action, and so forth. Campbell does a great job of articulating these ideas, helping students to understand them, and then interacting with them consistently throughout his work. In many ways, this is a bit of a workbook as well. Campbell provides lots of examples and then helps students to work through his methodology. Very helpful. Now, Campbell's ideas about aspect are really heuristic. He has published extensively the last 20 years, and he came to his thoughts about aspect in terms of an internal or an external, also with the thought of a spatial metaphor. Is there a proximal or a more remote feature of the verb? And this Campbell discovered by looking at narrative texts, lots of them, inside Scripture and outside, and recognizing that this feature of remoteness or proximity explains and coheres with the way verbs occur in narrative literature. The aorist, the perfective tenses, along with imperfect as well, the imperfective or the imperfect tense form, and the aorist, these two perfective tense forms, they occur in the main line of narrative, carrying the story along. The other feature of narrative literature, the discourse feature, is where you find imperfective aspect, especially the present. And there's a natural coherence of discourse with the imperfective aspect of the present and the main line of narrative with the aorist and imperfect, the perfective tense forms. So what about the perfect tense form? This is the perfect storm and the problem of the perfect, which has a high drama the last several years, and the 2021 publication of The Perfect Storm, where Campbell interacts with others about the perfect. Campbell argues that the perfect carries a spatial value of heightened proximity. That heightened proximity, yes, in narrative occurs mainly in discourse. And Campbell carries this argument all the way through. This is his argument, and we do the ABCs. The benefits of this book I've shared already. Catching up to speed, so helpful in terms of almost a workbook here, helpful for students. Campbell's a great teacher as a writer. Some writers, you just see them teaching you along the way, and that is Campbell, just pedantic in his writing, just carrying you along and helping you to see. Now, my concerns, I'm not convinced that there are only two aspects. I think there are three. I think the perfect is a stative aspect. I think morphologically with the reduplication and the kappa, I think morphologically there's evidence that it could be a different aspect with a stativity. Nonetheless, an excellent book and so helpful. When you think about Campbell's work, have to go back to Advances in the Study of Greek, such a helpful catching up to speed resource. Now, Basics is even more recent, so you have more features here. But Campbell is not just interested in Greek verbs. He has written extensively about prepositions. Here's another great volume. I continue to recommend this to students and would encourage you to take hold of it as well. So as you progress in Greek verbs here at this point in the year, grab hold of Campbell's book. For more book chats, go to biblicalstudiestoday.com. And for more information on Greek language and New Testament courses, go to mbts.edu. We'll see you again next time.